And now, live from Chicago, here is the Black Knight of Talk Radio, James Arthur Jancik.
Well, it's time to rise and shine again. Another person with an alternative method in at least in the healthcare industry here is under attack. I originally had the interview scheduled for 2 hours with Barbara Hartwell, and she sent an email and said, look, this is going on. This is important, and would you carry this on our show tonight? And I said, well, sure. And we're talking about Dr. Antonella Carpenter, who has a laser cancer treatment center system. It's Lays Med Inc., L-A-S-E Med Inc., and I have other links there as well, medicalconspiracy.com, etc. There's other things there on the webpage. She has a way to use photodynamic therapy to work on various cancers. It is the absorption of laser light on the appropriate frequency by preconditioned tumors. The result is the generation of elevated temperature caused hypothermia within the tumor and the malignant lesion alone, producing inactive and consequent death of the neoplasm. This special version of photodynamic therapy is called LIESH, my dyslexia is coming through, therapy, and can treat all kinds of skin cancers, including basal cell carcinoma, and there's a whole list there. She's been doing this, and of course, on July 11th, 2012, Dr. Carpenter's clinic was raided by 8 uniformed officers of the FDA who claimed to be acting on complaints by 3 people we now know as disinformants whose slanderous articles about Carpenter have been on the web for over 3 years. Complaints that she was selling false hope, even though they staged a raid bias based on a few complaints. They never spoke with Dr. Carpenter's successful patients before coming to take everything. Well, that happens too. You have people who, nobody cures everything, and if they did the same technique to doctors, there wouldn't be any doctors left. They'd all be in jail because doctors don't have 100% success rate either. Only in this case, of course, they have the FDA, the weight of the FDA saying that nothing but doctors count, and then they can come take their stuff and whatever. So we have with us today Dr. Antonella Carpenter and also a co-worker, Randy Simmons, as well as Barbara Hartwell. And welcome you all to the show.
Thanks, James. Nice to meet you.
Okay, we are here. Well,
I listened to the first hour, and it's fascinating. Some of the things you were talking about, the remote viewing, and the especially when you were talking about the false patriotism. I feel you. I definitely feel you.
Yeah.
My country is my God, and etc. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Different subject.
Well, anyway, but I had somebody calling me about another tragedy of the medical establishment and the messes, mixed diagnosis, messing up during surgery. I mean, it's unbelievable, the horror story I hear, and I couldn't continue because the show was starting, so I told them to call me back. It's just a horrible
Yeah, well,
story.
if people talk about the cause of death, and if you want to be technical about it, the number one cause of death in America is doctors.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are plenty of books saying that and giving you the statistics. But, one of the things that everybody claims, and of course you were saying about nothing is 100% effective. Not true. Not true. Not true. We do. The thing is, how come these people died? Well, because we killed the cancer in place. We totally non-invasive, nothing happened other than the heat kills the tumor. The tumor is still there, but it's dead. And then the body takes care of eliminating it in its own pace and time. The body knows how to do it. You just have to be patient and wait that it disappears on its own, gets reabsorbed. And of course, the older the patient is and worse health the patient is, it takes longer. Okay, if they have diabetes, it's a slow process too. So it takes longer, but the tumor is dead. The problem is that they're surrounded, that quote friends, relatives, they tell them, oh, you need to go to regular, credible recognized doctor, a real doctor, not a quack. You need to go and see them and have them verify is it really dead, because the tumor is still there. It could be not dead. It's not sure what they told you. So they get scared and go to see an oncologist. And what happens? They do the wrong testing and say, oh, my God, you are in worse shape. Whether they understand that or not, I don't know. But the thing is that the PET scan will tell you that you have an inflammation, and after the treatment, you do have an inflammation because the body is flushing out the dead tissue. But anyway, so they tell him, oh, my God, you need immediate intervention, massive chemo, what they call aggressive chemo. And they kill him. They don't die because they still have cancer. They don't die like they claim it because of our treatment. They die because they were killed by chemo. People get killed. And so they say, oh, see, that's where those 3 complaints and the complaints came from.
Well, plus, they're using archaic confirmation testing, too.
Right. So I'm saying they're
Based
not
on the old
appropriate.
method.
They're not appropriate to recognize death by hyperthermia. That's all it was. But it's also a desire to hide the results by the medical establishment. That's what it is. If you didn't go through standard treatment, you should be dead. And if you're not, they'll make sure you die, okay? So they can attack the alternative. And that's what's going on. The ones that are alive and well, back to their normal life, you know who they are? The people that listened to what we said and never saw another oncologist. Never listened to anything, went on with their lives. And that's where attacking, oh, you're telling patients not to go to an oncologist. Well, look at the statistics of people that see an oncologist.
Hey, this would be a good point. Dr. C mentioned something to me just earlier today about a conversation she had with, I think, a husband of a former patient. Can you basically give the story without, violating any privacy? You don't have to say any names, but just what he told you about the doctor, about the doctor's words to him. Can you say something about that?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, man.
This patient came to me when we were still in Arkansas. Not only that, we were not in North Little Rock yet. We were in Jacksonville. So that was way back. She had a rectal cancer, and it's very uncomfortable even with this treatment to treat it. But we killed the tumor without, and she avoided being totally destroyed by the standard treatment. And actually the husband found us looking for photodynamic therapy and actually the nanotechnology that was experimented in different universities, and one of them was Stanford. And he called Stanford and said he wanted them to treat his wife, and they told him they were not doing that research anymore. They have picked it up again, but they were not doing it at the time anymore, and Stanford told him to come to us. So they were perfectly aware of us because they were copying our patent in their research. But they knew that we existed, and he told them to come to us. And he did, and we treated the wife, and then I didn't hear anything for quite a while. And then she came back here, our place in Oklahoma in 2009, I think, for a checkup. And then I never heard anything again. And then the husband, actually, they divorced, but she's his ex-wife now. But when he found out that I was having problem, he contacted me. So we had a good conversation. And what he told me was that she was uncomfortable. She was experiencing discomfort because due to the location, the area is used every day, and that really creates discomfort with the healing process. So she went to see some doctors in Houston, and and what they did is they checked what she had, and they said the area was a boil, and they just said that there is no cancer. She didn't have any more cancer. Actually, what they call boil, what it is the liquefying, decomposing that tissue. But they call it a boil. But anyway, they told them that she did not have any more cancer. And the husband was talking to them about the treatment and the whole story, and they said, oh yeah, Rice University is doing research on this, other universities are doing research of this, and he said in the near future that this will be the only treatment for cancer. That's what he told
That's what
them.
got me when he said that.
Well, now, so what's interesting is you're the first person in history that I've ever heard say 100% success rate.
Well, that's what they're attacking me for. They're attacking me. You're lying and you're deceiving the patient because you cannot be 100% effective. No, of course not. What they're doing is butchery and torture, and it's really the best way to spread cancer. You want to spread cancer, that's what you do. You do chemo radiation.
I was just going to say a big difference. A big difference is so many people are doing the whole body systemic, either poison the whole body or, you know what I'm saying, chemo, poison the whole body. She treats a tumor at a time. And
now, how are you able to get in to hit this tumor? Like, what if there's a tumor in the middle of the brain? Could you still get to it?
Well, no, I cannot. That's why I tell them what I treat is skin cancer, including the horrible melanoma that everybody's scared of. Melanoma is nothing. It's the easiest thing to treat. And we're fantastic healing, very fast in healing melanoma, more than anything else. But what happens is this, okay? I can treat anything that is a lump that the patient can feel. Not because... It doesn't matter what the type of tumor is, because they say, oh, well, you don't even know what type of cancer it is and you think that you can kill it. Of course, because it's heat. It does not matter what it is. It's still the human body, still human tissue, and it doesn't matter what type of tissue it is. It's still the human part of the human body, and at a certain temperature, human cells die. If they are exposed to 50 degrees C for 60 seconds, they die. If it is 60 degrees, they die in 15 seconds. So there are certain things that they've discovered during research. It dies. There is no escaping. So how can you be 100% effective? You go over the entire mass, you kill it all. And then...
Aren't the Royal Society doing it internally? Aren't they using surgical teams to apply it on internal cancers?
Well, what I am saying is not that cannot be done for brain cancer. Actually, Stanford is doing research on that. It's not that you cannot do it to internal organs, brain cancer, anything. I cannot do it.
Right. No, you know what? You know what the thing is this sounds very, very simple and logical. Like when you say it, it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Tell them when you patented it. Tell them when you patented it.
We filed for the patent in Europe, and the patent was granted in 2001.
I dare you to find a laser cancer treatment, photodynamic therapy that predates hers.
They don't. Even the Stanford research does not predate ours. And we filed the patents European so long before then, but the copycat started after the patent was granted into February 2000.
Well, it sounds to me like the real issue here is that because you have the patent on it, no one else can really use it, and so you have...
they can. The problem is that they couldn't figure out how to do it. That's why they came down to steal what I have. And I guarantee you, in a few months, this medical school in Little Rock is going to say, we have had a breakthrough with advancement.
Well, see, they already did that once a year and a half to 2 years ago. They published a paper.
No, they did it before the lawsuit was filed.
Well, that's right. It was like within a month of the filing of the lawsuit, they published a paper and got a multi-million-dollar grant based on things that she picked out of it, parts that just came straight out of her patent almost.
But this sounds like a story of Brzezinski, except he has like a 30% success rate, and now you're talking 100%.
Every kind of cancer, every stage. It doesn't matter how big the tumor. See, I eliminate the need for early detection. That's a crime, you see. Okay? There is no need for early detection. Don't worry about it till you see a lesion in the skin or you feel a lump. Okay, internal organ, well, it's a little bit different, but still, you know something is wrong. And then, only then you can have testing. And it doesn't matter how big it is. We can get to it. I need a surgeon to get to it, and that's it. And let me tell you something else. The only thing they're getting me for is because the healing process is slow. The natural healing process is slow, which is no surprise because the tumor took years to develop. And so you don't think it was going to take just as long, a little shorter, but still years to all being flushed out? I mean, that's logical.
What about the possibility if you have a larger tumor of the killed tissue somehow becoming gangrenous?
No, it's not, because we are see, it's the friend of one of our patients was a professional scientist. He was doing research in, sterilization in pasteurization. And he called what we do, our process is pasteurizing the tissue. So basically, it's totally sterile. It cannot do anything. It becomes like a scar tissue. It's just sterile, amorphous tissue, does absolutely nothing. There is no possibility of infection, nothing. And that's why they keep attacking me. Oh, this is terribly infected. No, it's inflamed, because what is healing is the blood rushing there, and high in monocytes, which are the cleaner in the white count of the blood, and they are cleaning up, removing the dead tissue. So the blood is rushing there, the area swell up, it looks inflamed, and that's what it is, an inflammation. That's part of the healing process. When you have a cut, doesn't it look inflamed while it's healing? Yes, it's not infected, it's just inflamed, because that's what healing is. And they attack me for that and say, oh, no, it's infected. And then the PET scan says, whoa, it's out of control, so it's cancer. It's ignorance, ego, and also not wishing to see a simple solution to cancer. So much easier to attack me, demonize, insult me, all kinds of insult, and denying that the patients are okay, than it is to admit that the bonanza is over. No more billions for the drug industry.
But it wasn't easy for them to make your witnesses disappear at the lawsuit now. Well, it was probably easy for them, but it just seemed like, how in the hell did they do that? They wouldn't let the depositions go forward. First, her lawyer wouldn't even file the things.
Yeah, and the judge said they didn't exist.
And then we exposed it on the radio, and then suddenly he turns around, oh, they exist, and there was this lengthy paper. Right, lengthy paper describing each witness's particular reason why that deposition cannot be used, because it's prejudicial. Yeah, it could influence a jury.
Well, isn't that what evidence does?
That's what it's supposed to do.
That's the point of evidence.
That's why you have the position of different right. But this is my case, so it's all different, you see. And
apparently, the only deposition they would have taken and said that it was valid and usable would have been if it was an AMA member oncologist. You know, and that's not what she was bringing in. She was bringing in successful patients.
A patient. And you know what? The witnesses do not have to prove what they are saying. They present a case, they answer questions they're asked, and they make statement about the case. It's not that they have to present, they cannot present evidence that they are cured. How they are going to present it other than their appearance if the medical establishment refuses to do the proper testing? But I'm telling you, though, that even patients that after a few years that they're totally fine and there is no evidence of anything, they do their stupid testing and nothing comes up. Oh, no, there is no malignancy left. Even that, they still say, but you still have to have surgery and chemo.
Yeah, and this, well, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what I was saying, why they have to have surgery and chemo? Because that's what we do. That's standard care. Another patient I told, no, you still have cancer because you didn't have any treatment. Gee, the tumor was cooked. They didn't have any treatment.
Yeah, well, they're going on the assumption that since you didn't have any treatment, you must still have cancer, and therefore you have to have treatment, even though there's no test to see if it's dead or altered.
Yeah,
there are tests, but they won't do them. She's, well, you've talked about that. There are tests you can do.
I have a video that shows it. These are the tests that can be done to verify that he's dead. But what I am saying, it reaches a point where the decomposition is so advanced that they cannot find any malignant cells anymore, and they have to admit that there is no cancer, but they just don't like it, and they try all sorts of excuses to talk the person into having surgery so they can eliminate the evidence. See?
Right.
And of course,
and hopefully, they'll die in the process, which will make it easier on them.
Yeah, see, and then they say she died because she went to Les Med Inc. first. Okay.
Well, and speaking of eliminating evidence, you see that I don't think any of this most recent wave of attack would have happened if not for this set of videos that Dr. Carpenter made a little after Easter this year.
Why don't we go into that? I wanted to get a background on the actual process, which is fine. But why don't we get into actually what happened?
Done?
Yeah, we can get into what happened on your when these guys came and
Okay, when they came on Wednesday, notice this. They had somebody had called me setting up an appointment for his aunt, and I said, well, I need to talk to the patient, and I got to talk months ago to somebody that was supposed to be his aunt and give me general information. But and then he set up an appointment, and then he canceled, and then he reset it later, and then he canceled, and then he reset it in June, and then he canceled, and then he set it for July 11. And then when I was at the office waiting for the patient to come in, this I think there were 2 policemen and 6 FDA agent criminal investigation. They came in and took everything. They took all the files of the patient. They took the lasers. They took an answer. They took everything, and even our money from the safe.
Yeah,
so we don't have any.
Right now, that's what's got us in shock because.
We don't have anything. No.
Well, this is not
groceries.
This is not medical, but recently there was a raid on a farm, a co-op that was having raw milk, and
I know they did it. They did it to the Amish one.
Yeah, well, Amish, but this is another one too. They regular people. They all got together.
Rawson Foods.
Yeah, I think that was it. And they came in with the SWAT team, took money, they took guns. They had people laying on the ground, pointing guns at them, and everything.
No, they were not pointing gun at me, but. It was just outrageous. And then there was...
One of them didn't like the way she was looking at her and says, stop looking at me.
Well, I was asking question and looking straight in the face. Don't look at me. Go step away. Don't look. I said, why? I'm just asking a question and looking at you right in the face. I don't like that. I don't like you to look at me in the eye. Go away. To be in my face. And I said, guilty conscience? See, you cannot. There were 8 guys. You cannot intimidate me.
I want to put this out there to the entire world. If anybody's doing something like this, like I mentioned, the food place, or
right.
Keep security cameras that are hidden to record this whole thing. This would have been great to put out. This whole thing.
Oh, wouldn't it? I know. I thought about that.
But I thought a patient was coming. We didn't have a camera. Yeah. But what I am saying is the worst part about it is jumping and then during questioning. This is just something voluntary. Yeah, right. And if I refuse, that would have been held against me. I said, hey, I have nothing to hide, so ask away. But the disgusting thing is, well, you're really preying because you get people that are advanced cases, so you're really preying on the hope, on the desperate. No.
Everything they said, it sounds to me what you said is everything they said I had heard for 2 years coming out of these COINTEL stooges that they had on the web.
3 years. Yeah, I mean, those are the same argument ever. And then, well, obviously your treatment doesn't work. You know what the proof is, in their opinion, that it doesn't work? Because there is not a long line outside for people waiting to get in. Well, how the heck is going to be a long line for people waiting to get in when you have all this bad propaganda on the web?
She had a 2-month waiting list before that happened.
Yeah, before that happened, we had a 2-month waiting list. So get real. They caused that, but then they hold it against me. And then the other thing was, well, you're using a drug. I'm not using a drug. This is a natural herbal extract. It's a color. I colored the tumor. I turned the tumor into a tattoo that has a color, and then the light is absorbed by the color, and it kills the cancer because the cancer only reaches a temperature at which human tissue cannot live. It's a stain. Well, by definition of the FDA, this is a drug. No, it is not, because it does not produce a chemical reaction. You have to produce a chemical reaction to call it a drug. And they say, where did you get that explanation? Gosh, it's in the medical dictionary, okay? What a drug in an older dictionary is called a medicine or a remedy, but now they call them drug. And they cause they alter the way your physiological system works. So they change the physiology of something. Okay, it's a chemical action. It's not a physical reaction of the heat. And they still were trying because it's a physical. It's physics. Okay, it's heat. Just like you cannot stay in a parked car closed without air conditioning for 20 minutes, you'll die. And you'll die of hyperthermia.
You'll die of a chemical reaction, right?
Just like people wear light-colored shirts in the summertime instead of dark.
Oh, but that's okay. So basically, when you're drinking Kool-Aid, you're drinking a drug.
Yeah. Well, they're going to twist it to make it which way it works.
Anything. That's outrageous, though. It's the most ridiculous thing. Unbelievable. Oh, and then you do this. Oh, well, the injection you do make cancer spread. The injection into the tumor of the dye. And I said, okay, here's the syringe. It's an allergy syringe. You know how small that needle is? Okay? That's an allergy syringe. How the heck you spreading anything? What about biopsy? You spread it with a biopsy because that's a canon compared to an allergy syringe. And then they changed the subject when I said that, and they said, "Oh yeah, but you put all that fluid. It's like you have a balloon and you inflate it with water." So I said, "The cancer is our human cells. They're not a balloon." Empty balloon that you fill with water, okay? And you just put some stain. You're certainly not blowing it up and make it explode. So how is it going to spread? And also, if you broil a steak on the barbecue, why does it taste better than any other steak? Because the open flame, the heat on the outside, seals in all the juices. So you cook the steak and it tastes great. Well, that's it. I cook the outside before I get to the heat gets to the inside in a different spot. I do the outside first, the outskirt of the tumor. So I seal in everything. So how can it spread? That's ridiculous. And then they had to shut up. They didn't like it because I shut down all of their arguments. That's why they don't let me talk. See?
Yeah. I mean, what's great about your logic is it's so simple. That it's they're trying to get around it is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And then they say, "Oh, but she's a liar. She's a liar. She's a liar." Why? Because I said she's a liar. I mean, this is logic. One of my patients said, "This is a biology 101. What happens to the tumor? It's really simple biology, and it's also simple physics. How you produce the heat. Okay? It's called."
I cannot believe it blows my mind. With all this mental power in the world that no one's thought of this earlier.
That's my thought. Okay? That's my thought. And when I heard about... See, I was working for the defense industry. And the defense industry years ago came up with this, that now they're calling on the market the cool lasers. But they were using the defense industry first. And I was working on the Venus radar mapper beside the MX missile. But the Venus radar mapper was supposed to be used those, and I was the head of reliability, so I had to assure that there was reliability in the design. Because quality is in the production line, reliability is at the design level. So before everything comes reliability, and then you worry about the quality of the components, okay? And that's what I was working at, and I came across, because of my work at this new components, and at the time I was married to a guy that had a weapon fixation, so I got an idea. Oh, these are real laser and they're small, so the idea of a new weapon, and we put together for a laser cannon, okay? And we tried to bid for a contract. Of course, we were find funding and bid for a contract. We were shut down, and of course now they're doing it. But back then, no, we were not part of the club, so we couldn't do it. But anyway, when we were trying to get funding for this, we had different meetings, and people were, even at the meeting of investors, they were really real jerks. They're trying to shoot down the whole thing. And so one guy came out with a statement, well, weapons are evil. Weapons kill people, so they're evil, okay? So why don't you do something that helps humanity? Why don't you treat cancer? And I say, that's ridiculous, because we both say that. Even what is now my ex-husband and the thorn on my side has made my life miserable. But anyway, we said that's ridiculous, because this light doesn't do anything to human tissue. And it's a low-power laser, so nothing will happen to the human tissue. And so, the meeting went nowhere. Then we went home and talking, actually in the kitchen over the washer and dryer. Then the washer and dryer became our first experimental lab, okay? Putting a piece of wood and some grounding things on top of the washer and dryer instead of the garage, like for Apple Computer, we did in the kitchen. Okay? Yeah, and then talking about it, I said, I mean, that's ridiculous. You can't. And then, unless, and out of that unless, this treatment came. And then I started viewing things and trying to read and study what was out there. And then I ran across photodynamic therapy that was still in the early stages and was not FDA approved yet. And I looked into it, and I realized, okay, they're already doing it. And then I looked into it even more, and then realized that, so far, so close and yet so far, okay? They didn't understand a damn thing of what they were doing, because the guy that did the research was a stupid MD, not a scientist, okay? Because MDs are not, they call themselves scientists. They are not. They are glorified technician. They are taught, you see this and you do that. That is not a scientist. That is a technician, okay? And that's what I said all along. He couldn't understand what the heck was going on and what was happening in the tissue. And he created this idea of this never to be found singlet oxygen, and said that was killing the cancer. It was just totally ridiculous. So I said, okay, they have the answer, but they don't, because they don't know what they're doing.
Well, also it substantiates their idea for everything that it's a chemical reaction.
Right. It's a chemical reaction that happens. There is no possibility. And there was, under your eyes, you could see it, that it was a physical reaction, was heat being developed. Okay? So we decided to do something, and the trick was how we do it. It can be done without drugs. You don't need drugs. You have to absorb the light. So who cares? We don't need drugs, and that's what we did. You don't need a laser that does any damage to anything, and you don't need any drugs, and that's we have eliminated. And you know what? With this, you don't even need early detection. You don't need anything. You find a lump, you kill it with the heat.
Well, the trouble is you're taking a lot of money away from the industry here. You're making it too simple. You're making it, you can cure things absolutely. There's not years of drugs, expensive drugs.
And there's no year of side effects and other health problem caused by all the stuff they give him to keep cancer away. And then these other idiots that come across, but cancer is systemic, so you still have cancer somewhere else. No, you don't. It's not systemic. If it were systemic, you will develop a bunch of lumps everywhere in your body at the same time. There wouldn't be any reason why you only had one or two.
But that makes sense too.
Right, everything. And that's why they hate it, because what I say makes too much sense for their good.
And it's simple sense, so that anybody could understand this. And that, of course, probably makes them mad too, because you have to speak in these big fancy words that,
Right. Well, somebody told me, actually.
That's part of it too, to keep everyone confused.
Somebody told me, well, that's not true you're a physicist, because you don't sound like a physicist. I don't sound pompous, but I do sound like a real physicist.
Yeah.
And that's the point. It's so easy, it's so simple. And you know what else? It only takes a few days of treatment. Only people that have really bad cases, then they would need 10 days. But the average is 5 days. You come in, take a week vacation from work, get the treatment in 5 days. 5, it's the average. It might be, in the earlier cases, 4. If it's small skin cancer spot, it's 3 days. It's even simpler, but the average is 5. Okay? And then you go back home. You don't have any problem, and you continue working like nothing ever happened, because it didn't. See? And that's what they hate. They don't want that. So it's a lot easier to stomp on me, cover me with insults, and put an end to it. But they couldn't stop me. So that's why they raided my location, take away everything, my mean of making money and any cash that I had to survive.
That and the undeniable proof that you put out on YouTube, that really set them off big time. Yeah. Because it's connected back to the lawsuit from 3 years ago.
This is something that I can connect to when I post the archives. Is there a...
Yes, if you go to youtube.com/user/LazeMed Inc., it's a playlist called Truth Rises to the Top. And it's a set of videos where she goes through the contentions in the lawsuit and basically disproves them with her own medical records that it took her 3 years to get her hands on, because the attorneys didn't want her to have them. And also a case that was used as kind of a, I hate to say poster child, but this woman named Michelle Wolven, who was like the head stooge, the head troll that ran my God, this woman did so much damage. She found our neighborhood, found our street address, and then found the street addresses of our neighbors with just herself, a telephone, and a computer. Managed to turn 3 of our neighbors into marauders. Well, I don't want to say marauders, but she had neighbors come into our house that we didn't even know to start fights with us on the porch. She got. Well, it's too much to say in a short time, but this woman did a lot of damage.
Yeah, let's go back to the fact that we.
Can I add something about that?
Yeah, you've been quiet.
Yeah, no, well, because it was important for Dr. Carpenter to describe all the things that happened. But how I actually first met Dr. Carpenter and Randy was because they heard me on another show on the same network where they have a show. And I was talking about COINTELPRO, or what they do to a target. And they said, well, hey, this is what's happening to us. So they invited me on the show. And it's a very predictable pattern. You know, they target you. They put out lies. We talked about it on the last hour, James. You know, Barbara Hartwell, CIA agent, disinfo, all that stuff. Okay, and that's what they did to Dr. Carpenter. So I saw the pattern, and the more I saw, the more I observed, the more I recognized that she had been targeted as a very high-profile target. They had amassed tremendous resources against her. And that's why I support her, aside from the fact that I think she has a wonderful service and a treatment to offer. But she's an honest person, and she's being targeted by this medical mafia, big pharma, and now the FDA coming in with this raid. And it's wrongful. And it's also destroying other people's chances, people that could have cancer. That this could be their only hope for something to change. And now they're also destroying the health freedom for everyone in this country.
It's just unbelievable.
This is The Truth Rises to the Top. Is that the series you're talking about?
Yeah. Are you on the page?
Yeah. I'm trying to find I want to link it to my YouTube. I got subscribers and all that. I want to link it to...
And I'll tell you, that series has been edited. The first 2 of those videos were re-edited, I think, 5 times, because the same woman, Michelle Wolven, flagged them each time and got YouTube to remove them because we would either show her picture or put her name up in print. They wouldn't even allow that. Finally, I think they've allowed us to verbally say her name, you know, in a radio show. If we do a radio conversion to video, they'll allow that now. But the thing is, this woman had a set of 3 videos calling Dr. Carpenter everything from a witch to a murderer to a mind controller, that she hypnotizes her patients, uses some form of spiritual bondage on them.
To understand physics.
Yeah, unbelievable accusations this woman made. And what she did was use the case of, and this is why they brought her in to the whole picture, is because she's, before any of this happened with LaysMed, she was a 25-year veteran abortion protester. And, I mean, a real hothead that had been all over the East Coast protesting abortion.
It's just a professional agitator. That's what she is.
But they used that talent, though, and used her to drum up, a lot of negative publicity. And she had 3 videos on YouTube that went, super viral. Well, okay, I won't say super viral, but you do something like Dr. Carpenter does, you're not going to have hits in the thousands and 10,000s like, Alex Jones or whoever, you know what I mean? But we managed, when this conflict came about and she started flagging all of Dr. Carpenter's videos last April, I wrote YouTube back and I said, okay, how is it that we can't do this, but she can do this? And about a week later, they were all 3 gone. Huh. We had been complaining for 2 years, and they never touched him. Suddenly, boom, we had them in a corner. Okay, if they're going to pull ours, they're going to pull hers. But,
all right, I, for people who are listening, I got to the webpage, and I have now the playlist, and I'm going to post it in the archive so they can go through. I'm going to, of course, watch it myself, and this way they can get a nice story about how this is all going on. Now, do you see? Is there light at this tunnel, or is it just happened, and so right now you don't really have
Well,
I've been
fighting. No, I've been fighting this for 3 years, and I've always been able to, through hardship, to survive and still be able to help some patient that ignore all the garbage on the web. And I continue to save people's lives, and they're doing well. A lot of people are really happy, and they're writing testimonial, and they tell me, they call me, they support me. They prefer not to have their name because they become target if people know their names. Okay, a member of the medical know their names. So, but now. This happened, and this person came under deception that being a patient, and now I have no idea. I mean, I don't have anything, nothing left. I don't have the laser. I don't have anything.
No lawyer, no money, no lasers.
Well, see, this is where we need a Perry Mason to step forward here.
I know, and where are they?
Tell me about it. And we've been, well, I tell you, I think
it wouldn't be that difficult because I have all the points that they're abusing and they're misrepresenting to attack me. So,
and that's all in those videos too.
Yeah, yes, but there are a lot of other patients that have written testimony. Oh, they are fakes. Right. Where are they? We don't know that they exist. They don't exist. They're phony. Oh, really? What about the deposition? I originally gave him 12 names and they were discarded, but at least we kept 4. And they took the deposition. They don't exist. The deposition are made with a court representative, official court reporters. So, I mean, come on. How could they not exist? Oh, they don't count. And the plaintiff attorney, you'll find it all in the videos. They explain the reason why the plaintiff attorney said they shouldn't be allowed. And basically different reason, but in the end is because they could all distract the jury, confuse and distract the jury.
James, I think this is the 7th show that we've done since the raid on Wednesday. We put out I called Barbara and I called Jimmy at Orion Talk Radio. That's where our show is on Saturday.
Yeah, give information about this that people can hear this. I have links to it on the website, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Medical Conspiracy?
Yes.
Yeah, medicalconspiracy.com.
It's on 5 to 7 Eastern, 4 to 6 p.m. Central Time on Orion Talk Radio. And I put out the call to him. I didn't even really put out a call. I just said, "Oh, Jimmy, oh my God, you got to hear this." And within a couple of hours, we had like 5 invitations. Hey, come on our show so-and-so night. And then Barbara and Howard Nema, and I think Barbara shortly thereafter spoke with you. And we've put out the call. We need a Perry Mason. We need somebody that's willing to get some publicity and go pro bono or contingency, whatever. Somebody that's not afraid to go against the alphabet soups,
But the abuses that have been and the twisting of the facts is disgusting. We got so many people that have posted even blogs what the amazing things that have happened to them. And
he's got one of them. I saw one of them on your page, James. The Dr. Carpenter saved my life.
Right. I came across that one, and I put that up as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's just unbelievable how they can ignore all of that. Oh, and then there is the other one of the other guy.
Now, I mean, is there a chance you can get your stuff back? I mean, they just can't take it away. I mean, they
said there's going to be a long time. I mean, I don't have any money. That's why we put the button for donations, because how am I going to survive? And that's the whole idea. They're trying to make me... it's a lot easier to make you homeless than to kill you, because if they kill you, the questions are asked. They make you homeless, nobody cares. Okay? And this is the second time the government does that to me, because I was a whistleblower and I ended up homeless.
Well, that's exactly it, Dr. Carpenter, and that's what we talked about actually on the first show that I ever did.
Yeah.
On your show, because I do have expertise on this counterintelligence operations, and they actually have a manual. CIA has a manual, a PSYOPs manual. Isolation, alienation, deprivation. They want you homeless, destitute, and isolated, and they want everyone to abandon you and desert you. That's exactly what's happened to me. It's what has happened to Dr. Carpenter. I'm not to the... We don't know to what extent, but
I do have people that they're grateful, okay? And Orion has been great, and Jimmy has been great at Orion, and everybody, the host at Orion that I've had as host, and I have people calling because they heard what's going on with some of the former patients. So
you know what, Dr. Carpenter, they can't. Here's the thing. This is what I know. I know from places, they can't alienate your true friends, people who love you and support you. They're never going to be able to alienate them. Anybody they can alienate, they were never your friends to begin with.
They even tried to split divisions between my wife and I, and between Dr. Carpenter and I.
Yeah, the family.
Making up stories, putting stories on the blog about me going to massage parlors. I think.
Well, you know, judging from the stuff I've received on when they attacked Barbara Hartwell, the stories that come up with in there. I mean, it's. I mean, the reason why it doesn't ring true to me is the way that they present it is so ridiculously sophomoric. Yeah. That it's not even good. It's not even a good job. It's not even like a good...
No, but they can do what they want. I mean, how can you stand up with a straight face and say, okay, a color is a drug?
Mm.
And also, you know what else, Dr. Carpenter? Think about what the trolls that were attacking you when I came into the picture.
Right, they're attacking you.
Busted them, these people, with facts. Okay, they attacked me. They said first they said I was a fictitious character. Oh, she's claiming to be an ex-CIA agent. Oh, she's really a family member of Dr. Carpenter. Oh, and then they said that I was Wendy, Randy's wife. I was Wendy.
I thought it was Wendy from Wendy's Hamburger. I thought you were going to say that.
No.
And
she's not.
But they couldn't. You know what? Nobody can contest facts and evidence, and that's what we came forward. We did several shows in which we proved beyond the shadow of a doubt that I am a real person, that I'm not Wendy, and that these people are liars. That's it.
I know, but they still rely on the fact that FDA can do what they want, and in a free, civilized country, that should not happen. What FDA did is an absolute abuse, not only of my rights and my rights to run a business, my rights to live my life, to make a living, support my family, just have a normal existence, and my right to help people because I found something that will save their lives, and the right to of people to choose, because they do not have to be forced into something they don't want. But that's what's happening today. Nobody wants chemo, but they're forced into it with the fear of death. But the reality is you go for chemo radiation and you die. And you die a lot faster than they would have if you did nothing. I'm not even talking about coming to me and be doing great. No, I'm not even talking about that. So if you did nothing, you still live longer than you would with the standard treatment and a much better life.
It's because it's an industry and it's part of genocide. It's a genocide industry in which these bastards make money.
It's legalized, too, that if you don't accept the treatment, then somebody can step in and claim you're not mentally competent and force you to take the treatment.
Okay, and guess what else? Okay. Some of the patients I get have had the chemo radiation standard treatment before, and then the cancer came back and they don't want to go through that again. Didn't work anyway, they come to me. But one of the things I tell them, okay, I can kill the cancer. There's no problem with that. You're living with a dead tumor. I could not wipe out the side effects created by and those are something that you, by chemo radiation, and those are something that you normally doesn't show up right away. It might take years. Look at the case that came in the news about the anchor of Good Morning America, the news anchor of Good Morning America, Robin Roberts, okay?
Right.
5 years. She was had a clean bill of health. She was fine. She had beaten cancer, okay? And then what happens? Oops, she has leukemia, okay? She has leukemia. And they could not make a metastasis from breast cancer. I mean, if she had gotten liver cancer, still caused by chemo, they still call it metastasis from breast cancer. But leukemia, you can't do that because it's not possible. Okay, so they had to admit that it was caused by the chemo she had. Okay, to me, that's it. They should shoot themselves in the head and disappear. They caused leukemia by treating her for cancer. Breast cancer, get real. And then what do? What is the solution to leukemia? Chemo. And then we'll do the bone marrow transplant. Okay, she got there with chemo. They turn around and give her more chemo. Like Randy said all the time, I said, okay, you have a fire, throw gasoline in it. I mean, are we kidding here? And then, we are going bone marrow transplant. That is the most dangerous thing. It's very dangerous. You can easily die. Not only the person, the recipient, but also the donor. It's dangerous to both of them. And they tell, everything is fine because we can do bone marrow transplant. To me, with that, they should go and hide in shame because what they offer is horrible. Instead, they spend their effort by demonizing what I do that does nothing other than killing cancer. They're fine. After that, there are no metastases. There is no. And they're trying with Randy was trying to say about the poster child. You can see the video and the evidence. This woman had thyroid cancer. And nobody in the 2 years of attacking me and saying that I caused her death, anybody ever said that she also had thyroid cancer that I never treated because she didn't want to treat it. Have it treated. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got to get this out because I failed to mention this. Talking about that Truth Rises to the Top video set, one of the very important things about it, this seizure, this property seizure of taking the lasers, the enhancer, the money out of the safe, records, computer hard drives, wiped them, didn't wipe them, extracted them. Anyway, that is attached to a piece of paper that was served on Dr. Carpenter about a month ago. And the actual paper that started it was called a writ of execution. Now, here's the interesting thing. The date filed, the original filing date of that writ of execution
because they wanted the money from the phony trial. Yeah.
Right. The original filing date of the writ of execution that resulted in everything getting taken away this week. The original filing date was 1 day after the first Truth Rises to the Top video got uploaded to YouTube.
Huh. That might have been the icing on the cake. Well,
yeah.
That is the music to let us know. We got about a minute left. If you want to say something in closing here.
Yeah, Randy, go
I
ahead.
love this song. The Lunatic.
Okay,
yeah.
listen,
Anyway,
you can tell them where to go for the signing the petition and donation.
Go to lasemedinc.com. That's LASEMEDINC.com. And in the right-hand column, there is a widget to sign the petition. There's also, if people can find it in their heart to make a donation in a time of crisis, we have a special fund set up, the Help Dr. Carpenter Fund. And it's anything, it helps right now.
All right, well, I've got the links up for the videos. I'll put that up as well on my YouTube once I figure out how to add a playlist. And we will keep going on this and keep us informed. I hate
to hear about what's happening with your radio show. It was really
yeah. I'm going to go into producing shows that are going to be targeted on topic and be released, on here and there rather than a weekly radio. So I'll be regrouping and coming back, and hopefully we can do a more in-depth thing on this. But thank you, Doctor, for your work. God bless.
Thank you, James. For having me. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Barbara and Randy. So we will talk again. So,
okay. Nice meeting you. Thanks. Thank you a lot.
Oh, there we go. And we will see you next week. Reach for the skies within.
Each and one of my old friend, the one who walked before, the one who walk again, each and one of old, with wisdom for the new, revive our inner sight, retell your timeless truths, oh, each and one.
Feet to Fire is a production of IPS Media Works on the ONSIG radio network of stations.